The church in every time and every place is always somewhere on this road to Emmaus, because we're always in some place of encounter with the Lord. And maybe it's on the front end of that encounter where we might be looking downcast, as it were, and not seeing the presence of Jesus walking with us. And maybe at our best moments, we're heading back to Jerusalem with great joy and vigor to announce some encounter with the Lord, that we recognize some moment that we have felt his grace and his saving power, moments that we have been conformed to be witnesses. But we're always somewhere on this road to Emmaus. If you look at the timeline that's constructed here, these two disciples leaving Jerusalem, looking downcast, have already heard the first announcement that the Lord had been raised. It's late in the day on what we would know as Easter Sunday. They tell that there had already been the account of the women having the vision of the angels and hearing the message that Christ was alive. But still, they were leaving. They were downcast. That message had not really settled in or taken root in their hearts. There was a sense of restlessness. There was a sense of despair and anxiety. And so they were leaving Jerusalem, perhaps to go back to their old way, to go back and pick up the pieces from what they were doing before they were following Jesus. And in all of that, they didn't recognize him as he walked with them, as he spoke with them. But only in the breaking of the bread, only in the giving of the gift of the Eucharist to them did they recognize. But in looking back, they realized that their hearts were on fire, even as they didn't recognize, even as they didn't fully understand. And that too becomes somewhat emblematic of us, that we find ourselves encountering the grace of God without even knowing it. The ways in which the Lord is present to us to save us without our being aware. And they teach us something about having to look back to say, that's where Jesus was. Here's where the Lord's presence has been made known to me. And it's really in the reflection on that they find the vigor to return as witnesses, to join the company of believers as believers, to be prepared to be witnesses. And here is our movement, day after day, week after week, coming to the Eucharist with all of our fears, with all of our hurts, with all of our anxieties, all the things that preoccupy our thoughts and our hearts. And that we go forth from the Eucharist changed, I hope, differently, I hope, as witnesses, as the Lord needs us to be. And that it's here in this encounter that all of that reflection, all of that perspective, and all of that recognition happens. Not just as we recognize what's happening here, but as we also receive the clarity of vision to see Christ in our midst beyond these walls. So let these Easter days be a time for clarity, for focus, attentiveness, and a sense of responsiveness to what the Lord is doing for us.